This is my legacy. This is the mark that I am leaving after me. I proudly present to you my 200 IQ grenade guide. And by the end of it, you become 10 times more dangerous and can dominate even apex predators. Enjoy! Firstly, I need to explain how that thing works, so even newcomers can get a grasp on it. That thing has 4 seconds of fuse time. After you throw it, Mr. Grenade is no longer your friend. You can't cook a grenade before throwing it with a shorter fuse, and that's the weakest part of it, because the enemy has plenty of time to run away. It can bash doors and knock someone away from the explosion if damage has been dealt to health, so you can use them as a zoning tool by throwing aside enemy cover, forcing them to move or take damage. So now we are moving to 200 IQ tricks, starting from easy to hard. To master skynade, you can start with vertical throw. It's used when you got someone above you, so you aim straight up and just a tiny little down. Usually I'm using 2 grenades with slightly different angles, so with first won't hit the target which back it up more, second with lower angle gonna do the job. Also, 2 grenades help to secure a kill. One shreds armor and force enemy to step back, and second lands right on him. When I started getting frags like that, I was feeling like the luckiest guy on the planet. I bet you can recon that feeling when you hit someone with a far headshot. This is better. Then that trick can evolve into next one. I like to use that throw before I get on a roof with enemy if he's waiting for me. I toss a grenade and time my climb with explosion. So when it hits him, he's gonna be disoriented and confused, because now his brain is busy to process how is that happened, his health is half, he needs to choose between finding cover and fighting me, so with that mental overload it's hard to make right decisions. And the more mistakes he made, the better for you. And also you can use that trick with caustic ult, since it gets tossed like a normal frag. That is especially useful in rank in last circles, when someone has a god spot above you and you can easily deny it. That can also work when someone wounded breaks line of sight for a heal, for example when the enemy holds the rooftop. I am very often using that throw when pushing from low ground. With a couple of grenades you can land heavy damage on a whole team and knock down someone. That toss expands your ability to deal indirect damage big times, so they never feel safe while you are near. When you get used to that arc, the next step is to use skynades in cases when you can read the game and predict what's gonna happen within seconds. For example, when you are holding a cover and someone pushes you. So you already know that a grenade will land 2 meters in front of you, and if you can predict the time when enemy will be on the opposite side of your cover, that grenade is gonna be a big surprise for him. That is one of your first 200 IQ tricks with a frag grenade, and the amount of joy that you will get after making that play real is insane. This is gonna cure your anxiety from the game. There is something about that play that brings extra joy. I guess it's the realizing how you managed to fuck up the other guy, that thought that everything is under control, and suddenly he gets wrecked like never before. And you're sitting like, damn, I wish I could see his face after that. The more advanced move is to toss right at 90 degrees above you, and when enemy goes behind your cover, you quickly slide jump to another side of it, so he left one-on-one with your grenade. So besides that it's really powerful and unreadable, imagine how dumb he's gonna feel. Just put yourself into his shoes. You're pushing someone, going around the cover, and instead of landing big damage, all you get is a freaking grenade out of nowhere, and then you get blasted by that dude who picks back at you. This is freaking humiliating just by the way it sounds. And when you pull that play off, you're gonna feel as the biggest giga brain in the lobby. Trust me. But you can go even further if you are Wraith. So you toss 2 grenades in air and then using void jump. Reposition is optional. That trick will bring you a kill or a hardly wounded enemy. Next cool move that I'm gonna show you is with the door. It's being used when someone chases you and you are 100% sure that he's gonna follow. So before running inside the house, toss a skynade right in front of the door. Get in and hold it. And when that awkward staring through the glass door starts, you're gonna be the one who's smiling as wide as the white shark, eagerly waiting for the next moment. If you are kind enough and have time, like you just pass around the corner before the door, you can toss even 2 grenades and then go in and hold the door. If enemy didn't see you doing that trap or dumb enough to not calculate the consequences, it's impossible to dodge. In a worst case scenario, you get 100 HP damage and an element of surprise, so when the door breaks, start blasting. A pre-charged PK is a wombo combo here. A second really strong 200 IQ move is when the situation is reversed. You are chasing someone and now he holds the door inside. And you need to get him. So you toss 1 grenade right on the ground and second immediately in the sky. And run away. And by the time the second is gonna fall down, the explosion will be shortly after the first one. That dude inside saw only 1 nade through the glass, so he will not expect the second. And he might continue to stand there and healing, or even if he peeks outside to check where are you, he'll get hit. You might ask why he would continue to stand there. You see, there is some kind of psychological trick, like he saw that you put grenade on the ground and run away. Usually when that happens, person won't come back to the same door and he's flanking. So he's not expecting any danger from the door and outside. And much more likely, he even tried to come outside to have cover against you because he's assuming that you are flanking from the inside. Another cool trick with the door is a grenade rolling. Unfortunately, you can't perform it anywhere, but in the specific places which you need to learn. There are some kinds of doors that have a small gap in a corner, so by aiming there when the circle becomes flat, you can roll grenade inside. Sometimes doors have that feature only in top corners. So you just need to be aware of that. This is very fun trick because there is still a big amount of people who's unaware of it and might not even notice a grenade indicator. And it's really quite funny to stare at them through the door, knowing that they think like, oh, I'm a smart one, I'm gonna pop a big battery and shoot that guy when he kicks the door, and then his ass got blasted. Wonderful times. By the way, upper angle is the best for termite grenades, since they burn a guy who's holding a door. Previously, you could do that by throwing them at the door, but developers fixed that, making the weakest grenade in Apex more useless. So if you're master at all previous steps, you might want to increase the distance of a sky grenades. You can slowly work on that at the shooting range. Just position yourself at random distance from a dummy and then try to hit it and the rest of dummies around. And try to memorize how much did you go down from the upper 90 degrees mark. Maybe some exceptional learners can just visually memorize angles for throwing, but I found the easiest way for me is to look up and then go down for a needed distance, and then step by step learn how much should I go for different ranges. If you wanna dive even deeper into that, download R5 Reloaded. There is a really nice custom practice range. I didn't use it, it all came natural to me since I'm so cool and humble guy, but that definitely can save you a lot of time. The final point is that you finally can toss sky grenades behind enemy cover after trading shots with him. Believe me, blowing someone's ass like that is gonna make your day, I promise. By that point, if you master that, as long as you have a grenade, no one's gonna feel safe near you, even high-rank players. Those gonna expect the least something like that from a guy who's not their ranks. Now it's time to talk about third partying. Frags are ideal for that, since it's very hard to track from where are they being thrown, especially when you are busy fighting, so use that to your advantage. Now, when you can throw sky nades far, it's the perfect time for doing that. Also, grenades create a nice sound clutter, which greatly masks your footsteps. So if you combine all of that together, you will be the biggest giga brain in a lobby. For smaller gigabrains, I'll suggest you to use sounds of thermite grenades to cover sounds of reviving your teammate. Also, they can serve as a visual clutter if tossed the right way. If you are still struggling to toss a skynade on demand, you can learn the first throw and use only it, and then reposition yourself for a distance that you know you can hit with it. For example, you are constantly toss grenades at 60 meters, then ping your target, and when the distance becomes 60, do your toss. Remember, practice makes it perfect. Don't get discouraged if you fail at first. Never hits his target only a guy who never shots, not who shots 100 times and hit only once. Also, underutilized aspect of frag grenades is their ability to roll and bounce. If the enemy cover is on a slope, you can toss it slightly behind, so it will roll towards their cover after landing. For far tosses, you can aim for the top of cover, so when it hits it, it bounces and roll behind it. With rolling, you can also drop grenades from a high ground at enemies who are below you, since a skynade will not drop that low. And direct toss give them more time to react, and also you need to peek for that, so you're definitely gonna take some damage. Another good example of utilizing bounce is a tall wall and a cover near it. So you can aim for a high point, expecting a grenade to drop down with shorter fuse, since it was more time in air. That way, enemy got way less time to react and evade the explosion. Next aspect that I'm gonna share with you is baiting. If you need to revive someone, you can toss a grenade at choke point and start reviving. The sound of revive will force enemy to push you to prevent that. So, by the way you choose to toss grenade can happen two things. First, enemy will wait until nade goes off, giving you critical time for completing revive. But that can work only if grenade is in plain sight of that player. If you put nade slightly aside, you can expect that he walks in and get hit by explosion. So you need to be ready to cancel a revive and re-engage. And that play could be done on purpose when you left 1v1 in a clutch moment. One more smart tactical move is when you're being chased, throw grenade right after a corner or a door passage, so the enemy won't see its indicator till the last moment. Arcstar can be thrown right above the doorway. That way you can easily win 1v1 if you are being chased, especially if you are running hard-hitting guns like Peacekeeper. Or at least you're gonna slow down chasing guy, since now he needs to keep in mind that if he continues to chase, you can easily counter-pick him and beam down, since he cannot instantly return fire while sprinting. Less advanced trick is when you need to buy some time for your team to reset or revive. In that case, you can continuously throw in your nades at the hallway, completely blocking that path for a short period of time. That can really help you in a hit, especially in ranked, but that drains a lot of resources. Also, if you need to slow down a chaser, you can toss a grenade at the stairwell, and since the enemy don't know the exact timing, it's gonna be really hard for him to cross it, and most likely he decides to wait it off. Okay, enough of that weak stuff, now the real chemistry will start to go on, but that time with legend abilities. If you are playing Wraith, you can force someone to follow your portal, and when you appear on the other side, go straight backwards, so the enemy will appear in front of you, allowing you to deal a huge damage in his back. Pair that with a skynade, which you throw right after exiting the portal, and you got insanely devastating combo wombo. And the beauty of that is that he won't see a coming grenade, since you didn't throw it at the ground like a noob and didn't give him a chance to get away from the explosion. Next powerful move is inside Gibraltar's dome. Arcstar can cover with explosion almost all area inside, so toss it at the dome ceiling and you can retake all inner space. Also, there is a lot of variations of that, like preventing people from getting inside with sticking Arcstar on their side or just tossing a frag to a wall. But the best and the strongest trick is to count the lifetime of a bubble and toss the Arcstar on top of it right at the last seconds before it goes off. So the people who standing inside won't expect that they all get hit by a dropped Arcstar when dome disappears. This is devastating as fuck. And if you add here a skynade, that's gonna be insane. Another 200 IQ move with Gibby is with doors. Did you even know that his hand shield can block all the damage from frag grenades? So you literally just hold the door and toss 2 grenades right under your feet, crouch and ADS. first grenade bashes the door and second hits the enemy standing behind it, and you just start blasting. If you are running PK or Mastiff, time your shot with explosion, and that's gonna be the last thing that your enemy will see. Another really cool trick with frag is dodge breach with a teammate. So one of you punches the door once, and then one of you drops grenade at the ground. And the other needs to time his kick, so he breaks the door right before grenade explodes. And since there is no friendly fire, all explosion damage will be dealt only to the enemy who stands on the other side. I guess I don't need you to explain that if you were the one who's throwing, you need to step back from explosion. Also, you can do a similar trick if you are playing Rave, just toss 2 grenades at the ground and use your Void Walk before the explosion. There is also a cool trick with Newcastle Mobile Shield, so you can play with it. Like when you're hiding behind and someone is about to enter, toss grenade on inner side, so the pushing dude will think that he is smart enough to stand outside before grenades explodes and then go in. And in that moment you clearly show that you got the biggest PP in a lobby. And command shield move backwards to you, opening him to a grenade explosion and covering yourself. That move definitely deserves a big ass like, so you better press it or I'll come at night to you and empty your fucking fridge. Also, there is a reverse version of that move. You toss a few Axtar on your shield and command it to move behind an enemy in front of you. That can be utilized when you're pushing someone with that shield. I can't express how much offended will be that guy after he gets wrecked like that. And the next one is a zipline bait. If you know that enemy coming to you by zipline, toss some grenades at place where he's gonna land. The enemy will either take damage upon arrival or be forced to abandon zipline halfway. That works like a charm on Olympus or a jump pads on World's Edge. Alright guys, if you would be able to use all those tricks in a match, you would be the biggest Giga Brain, Giga Chad in a lobby. And if you want to become better at quick thinking and decision making, check out that video, that definitely gonna help you.